As politicians sling mud and point fingers, we find the people who slip through the cracks.
So you're keeping an eye on a home that you got put out of.
I cut the grass yesterday, so...
Why would you even care?
Because it's a neighborhood that I want to be in.
Meet this grandmother who now lives in her van because her landlord did not pay his taxes. It's part of a bigger problem. And speaking of problems...
What do you have a higher opinion of, Congress or dog poop?
Are you turned off by the nasty tone of our politics? We'll debate what's causing it and what we can do about it as only we can with Judge Merissa.
You both agree, don't you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
So who do you blame?
Money in politics.
This is Money, Power, and Politics. Well, tonight, our three big points of the night are dance moves because it's time to show off some of our politicians and how they bust a move. And we've had some pretty good entries here over the years. First, we'll start with the reigning champ. Last year, we picked Governor Rick Scott as the winner with his invention of the Washington side shuffle. He basically bashed Washington, then showed up in Washington asking for money, and it played out something like this.
Cue music.
It was very pleasant to watch, and I think you should be given the opportunity.
But tonight, Scott has some new competition because we'll start with Maggie Hassan, the Democratic governor of New Hampshire. She introduced her rendition of the Hillary side shuffle when repeatedly asked if she thought Hillary Clinton was trustworthy.
Do you think that she's honest and trustworthy?
I support Hillary Clinton for the presidency because her experience and her record demonstrate that she's qualified to hold the job.
Do you think she's honest?
She has a critical plan, among others, for making college more affordable.
But do you think that she's trustworthy?
I think that she has demonstrated a commitment always to something beyond herself, bigger than herself.
Nice, but not to be outdone, Marco Rubio is back. Earlier this year, he scored some points for his rendition of Mr. Roboto.
The single greatest nation in the history of all mankind. The greatest nation in the history of mankind. The single greatest nation.
The single greatest nation in all mankind.
That will never happen again. Happen again.
And now he has some new moves, and we'll call it the Donald Trump twist.
He is a con artist. You all have friends that are thinking about voting for Donald Trump. Friends, do not let friends vote for con artists.
So you still think that Donald Trump is in fact a con artist?
Yeah, look, I stand by what I said during the campaign.
Yeah, but Rubio says he still supports Trump, even though he called him a dangerous con artist who we can't trust with the nuclear codes.
Cue music.
Tell us how you can support Donald Trump now, after all of this, after calling him a dangerous con artist.
I'll support the Republican nominee because Hillary Clinton can't be president. I think she's terrible. That's how bad she is.
Yep, welcome to 2016 with two of the least popular nominees in modern history, and Gary Johnson wondering, what do I have to do to break through here? Okay, tonight we have a lot on tap. We'll roll out a new edition of Beach Party Politics. That's a great way to get the pulse of the people here in Tampa Bay and sometimes make politicians shake their heads.
Obama 08.
Yeah.
Obama 2012.
Yes.
Trump 2016.
Yes.
But the last time I hosted Beach Party Politics, it wore me out for some reason.
I'm asking about the presidential race. I can keep jogging with you.
All right.
Who do you like in the presidential race?
Oh, I gotta go with. It's a tough one. I gotta go with Trump, though.
Why Trump?
Well, it's either really good or really bad.
What if it's really bad?
Well, he knows too much, so he can either really help us or really hurt us.
And if it really hurts us, would you regret that?
Yeah, but I gotta take the chance.
What do you hope he accomplishes?
Well, I hope he uses business sense and helps make this country back #1.
So tonight, Evan will host Beach Party Politics while I catch my breath and gear up for court. Because it's Tuesday night and that's time for Judge Merissa. Now tonight, we're looking at the way our politicians on both sides of the aisle dig in and hurl insults and just don't give an inch. We'll debate what's causing this and where we go from here. Charlie Belcher once again is my sparring partner and Marissa's the judge.
E pluribus unum, out of many, one.
We don't need more heat, we need more light. This is the moment. This is our time. We will change the course of history. the same partisan spectacle that only hardens the disdain many Americans have towards their own government. The time for bickering is over. We are better than this.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent
object.
to revise my remarks.
Object.
I object.
I object.
I
Both
object.
sides of
I object.
the
I
aisle.
object.
Object.
And the hardest thing to change in politics is a stubborn status quo. But you can't give in to that cynicism. Do not let them win. Don't get cynical. It's one of the few regrets of my presidency that the rancor and suspicion between the parties has gotten worse instead of better.
How did that happen? What caused the polarization of our politics? And who's to blame?
Vote these people out.
That's the debate we'll settle in court. You are entering the courtroom of Judge Merissa Lynn. Real issues, real political arguments, settled here in our forum. This is Judge Merissa.
All right, so let's start with the evidence. Clearly, the parties have pulled apart. Democrats in Congress have become more liberal, while Republicans have become more conservative. You both agree, don't you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
So who do you blame?
Money in politics. The growing influence of money in politics, it's pulled our federal lawmakers apart. They spend more time raising money than doing anything else. Less time getting to know each other and learning how to work together in Washington. They're too busy fundraising for the next campaign.
So, Mr. Patrick, do you disagree?
Well, I would say the voters deserve some blame here, the electorate, because voters overcorrected. They pushed out experienced deal makers and replaced them with mavericks who promised change, but the more they promise, the less they've been able to change, and the art of compromise was lost. Play Exhibit B.
It's not enough just to change a congressman or change a senator or even change a president.
You watch a sonogram at a 15-week baby, and they have movements that are purposeful. If they're a male baby, they may have their hand between their legs. I mean, they feel pleasure.
I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball. And that's just from outside here. So it's very, very cold out, very unseasonal. So here, Mr. President, catch this. Mm-hmm.
You can believe NASA, or you can believe the senator with the snowball.
Yeah, absolutely. The more you drink, the more this will make sense to you.
That is pathetic. Mr. Belcher, do you accept the evidence submitted into record?
Well, I do, but I think there is a funnier way to demonstrate. Play Exhibit C.
No one can even find the bill or even knows where it's at.
The official copy will be at the desk.
The official copy is always at the desk.
Then where is it?
At the desk.
Is it now at the desk?
You can see where the voters want to vote them out, but then they don't.
Wait a minute. Play Exhibit D.
What do you have a higher opinion of, Congress or dog poop?
Yeah, there you have it. Congress is less popular than dog poop.
Yes, it's true. I've seen the poll numbers. He's right. But look, voters don't like Congress as a whole, but they like their own member of Congress. So around 90% of them get reelected, even though everybody says they hate them all, thereby refuting his argument that the electorate is to blame.
Mr. Patrick, what say you?
Well, look, the people didn't really change here. The parties did. You have the Democrats used to have a big conservative wing in the South, and Republicans had a big liberal wing in the Northeast and in California, and it helped balance both of the parties until both parties lost one of their wings in this, and they pulled to the right and to the left, and specific ideology then prevailed, and that polarized the country around those politics.
So now you're blaming the parties.
Well, there's a lot of blame to go around.
Well, that's my point. And what did they do with their whole redistricting? They moved the entire maps around so it would be predominantly Republican or predominantly Democrats to squeeze out the moderates, like a pimple on your forehead. Those are moderates.
Objection. He said pimple. Yeah.
I think this case is clear as sill.
Based on that, Mr. Belcher, you take this one.
Yes.
And now it's your turn to render a verdict. Find and like our Facebook page. That's Fox 13's Craig Patrick on Facebook. Do you agree with the judge's decision? Cast your vote as a member of our jury. Coming up, Charley LeDuff investigates the waves of foreclosures that force tens of thousands of rent-paying tenants into the streets.
Someone's renting for somebody loses the house, the citizen goes homeless, and then the house goes to the city where the citizen is homeless. Strange cycle.
We've investigated the foreclosure crisis since the banking meltdown 8 years ago. And while most of the banks have recovered, a lot of working class families have not. And when landlords don't pay, their tenants get burned. Tonight, Charley LeDuff shows us how that's playing out in his hometown of Detroit.
In Detroit, they talk about the downtown miracle, about the people moving in, about buildings going up. They don't talk about the neighborhoods very much, about the people moving out, about the houses falling down. They don't talk about the tax foreclosures, the 86,000 homes that have gone on the auction block since 2009, according to Loveland Technologies. That's tens of thousands of families put out on the street, and tens of thousands family more are expected to go this year. So you're keeping an eye on a home that you got put out of?
I cut the grass yesterday, so...
Should you even care?
Because it's a neighborhood that I want to be in. I care about it.
Where do these people go, these neighbors of ours? Some move south, some move west. One woman on the east side moved across the street, into her van, in a vacant lot, where the street lamp still burns. Aren't you afraid to be in there?
That's why I come here.
In this lot where you're known?
Uh-huh.
And your friends over there?
Yep.
Let you use the shower and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
They'd let you stay, but you feel funny about it, don't you?
I feel funny about spending so much time being a burden to somebody else.
The court put her out and a speculator outbid her for $200 for the home she once rented and raised her grandchild in. You might say she's a thistle lost in the wind. And the house, it sits empty. So why don't you just go get a new place?
I don't have the money. I don't have that down payment. If I did have the down payment, I keep getting shot down. It's no help. The little man, it's me.
Buckingham Street is named after a faraway palace. And this little jewel of a neighborhood was full just 8 years ago. Then came the tidal wave of foreclosures. It's like that all over Detroit, except downtown. Downtown is full. In the neighborhoods, once a house goes empty, it never goes full. What about that one?
That one, the bank still owns that house, and because no one moved in it right away, people used it to just go in there and keep taking things out.
You put the hot water tank in there, right? How long before it's gone?
A day.
A day. So what's the point? What's the point?
We just went to one. It's been stolen 3 times, and everything's gone again, and it's got this.
So putting people out doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Someone's renting for somebody loses the house, the citizen goes homeless, and then the house goes to the city where the citizen is homeless. Strange cycle. The law's the law, and you have to pay your bills. But how strange it is. A city full of homeless people in a city full of empty homes. Some call it big money versus little people. But on this corner of Buckingham Street, in the Morningside neighborhood, they say there's no such thing as little people. Only people. What's the matter?
She crying. Because I could be her. I could be her.
Yes. Being homeless, it's not a crime. Being homeless is not, you know, it's just not your fault sometimes. I feel like it's not my fault.
You'll find much more of Charlie's travels on our YouTube channel. Search for Craig Patrick's Money, Power, and Politics. Subscribe to our channel and follow along. You'll also find satire and humor segments and hard news investigations you may have missed. Coming up, we'll tap the pulse of the people here in Tampa Bay. Evan hosts this week's Beach Party Politics. Last year, we launched a new segment called Beach Party Politics. Basically, we ask folks to weigh in on politics while they're trying to relax. But it does give us a good pulse of what people are thinking about the campaigns. And tonight, we're turning the reins over to Evan on the beach.
Time now for Beach Party Politics.
When you think about this election, what's your impression of the way things are going?
I'm embarrassed, for our country by Trump's racist verbiage. I mean, he's appalling.
Have you made up your mind yet?
Absolutely. I don't want anybody in running my country who hates and who promotes violence and who promotes a lot of racism.
What are you thinking? What's with the election? What do you think?
You gotta go for Trump. He's a little different, but it's time for a change. Hillary just lies too much. Everything she's done has failed.
He has not stated any policy in detail. I don't think he's capable.
He's mostly for the middle class right now. I mean, you gotta cut some corporate taxes to get jobs here.
If you had one wish, what policy do you want to see?
I would say probably health care for the whole country. I think if a country does not take care of their own people so they're healthy, happy, that kind of thing, then we're not doing our business as a country.
People have to have affordable health care. I mean, that's the most important thing right now. I mean, Homeland Security, yes, is definitely always on someone's mind, but you got to take care of the people that aren't always looking at security. I mean, you got to look at people who have families.
There's a lot of hate. And
general tone.
Yeah,
general tone, you're saying.
Yeah, general tone. I mean, there's so much hate, and I think that a lot of that hate has stemmed from Trump.
He's on track with all his plans. The only thing that we have to deal with Trump right now is that he has to stop being in high school. I mean, he's a businessman. He has to adjust. I mean, he said he's going to keep on doing what he's doing, but if he doesn't adjust, just like any other business person, if you don't adjust, you have to go back. You're going to lose.
In terms of issues, last month the Pew Research Center tracked the top issues for voters this year, and the economy and terrorism topped the list, followed by foreign policy and health care. Coming up, we'll show you who's winning the ad war in Florida. We have new numbers that show how much Eastside is spending and what to expect next month. Well, a new Monmouth poll gives Hillary Clinton a 9-point lead in the state of Florida. Now, 5 different polls over the past week or so have all shown Hillary Clinton in the lead, and we have a huge disparity in ad spending. $23.7 million from Hillary Clinton and her supporters spent in the state compared to $3.3 million for Trump's supporters. But Trump is now ramping up in the state of Florida. That's our show for tonight. We will see you once more tomorrow night. Take care.